This is the fastest moving chat I've seen in a while. Me too, Brian. Okay, Daniel's in the Philippines, 3 a.m. Dominique is in California, 11 a.m. right here with us. Massachusetts, baby. What's up, Francis? We got some good friends in Boston. Is it snowing there yet in Massachusetts? 9 p.m. in Egypt, Omar. Epic. Epic. We're not gonna be in Egypt, but we're gonna be close to Egypt in January. Richmond, Virginia, Alex. I don't know if you know this, but I'm from Richmond. That's RVA. That's my hometown. 3 a.m. in the Philippines, 8 p.m. in Barcelona. All right, guys, I think it's fair to say this is a pretty well represented international um, uh, Neil, I can't even get this many likes on a LinkedIn post. How many people are in this webinar? Yeah. So it looks like there's a little over 600 of us here today so far. Guys, you'll get a recording of this as well. So if at any point during today you have to bounce, don't feel bad about it. You'll get a recording that you can catch up on everything that you missed. That being said, there is going to be a pretty sexy gift at the end of this thing. That's just to try and get you guys to eat your veggies and stick till the end. But or we got a pretty fun offer for the freelancing program at the end of this. All right, well, let's just get right into it. Let me pull up my screen share. If you've ever been in one of these with me before, you'll know Zoom is my nemesis, and I always have to work very slowly to choose the right things. All right, so share keynote. You'll also, if you've ever been to one of these with me before, you'll know I'm not a designer and I don't make presentations for a living. I try to keep these things as simple and Spartan as possible. It's just about the content, baby. Don't expect anything particularly foo-foo out of me. Some quick housekeeping items here. At the end of this presentation, workshop, what have you. We're going to do a Q&A session, as you know, a pretty robust, healthy Q&A session. So if you have any questions as I go, um, then add them to the little question box, which is where at the
Q&A.
at the bottom says Q&A. It looks like a little diagram. My interface went away because I'm screen sharing, so I'm looking at Courtney's. So it's like it looks like a little chat bubble, right? So log your questions there. And if you don't have any questions, keep that section open anyways and upvote any questions that you want to see get answered. Because that's how we're going to organize it at the end, right? We're just going to go by most popular questions. So if you want to make sure a question gets answered, upvote it and like it, right? Last housekeeping item is this was on the landing page and is in some of the emails that is in all the emails that we sent out. A chunk of this presentation is going to rely on you having access to Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. Now, you don't have to have Sales Navigator today because you're getting the recording, so you can set this up, at your leisure in over the next month. But Sales Navigator is a massive asset. It's a huge tool for freelancers. It changed how I thought about LinkedIn. I thought LinkedIn was relatively useless as a platform until my good friend Chris Cosolino turned me on to Sales Navigator, and he runs an agency, a LinkedIn agency, and LinkedIn hires his agency to um, what's the word to improve Sales Navigator for them. So we've got the inside track on Sales Navigator, and it's a pretty great thing. So I've been talking long enough to help you go to give you the time to go join it, subscribe to Sales Navigator now if you don't have it already. But again, if we get to that point and uh, and you don't have it, that's fine. Take a watch what I do. Watch me set up the save searches and the lead lists, and go get make you'll be pretty certain of the value of it after watching what I do with it, and you can go get it after this webinar. All right. And it does cost a little money. It's not substantial, And if you get one client with it, it pays for itself each month. I mean, it's if you get one client with it, it should 10x, 800x for itself, each month, depending on how much you're charging. All right, I'm gonna figure out how this bar keeps showing up every time. I'm gonna put this guy down here so it's not. And then we're gonna minimize this, and then we're gonna be good to go. All right, let's get started. Everybody ready? I should probably keep the chat up here. Look, that thing's moving. All right, cool. Jacob says, "Let's do it." Jonathan says, "Yep, let's with your blessing, I'm going to get started." Courtney's in the chat as me. If you're talking to Jamie in the chat, you're talking to me. If anything is like outwardly confusing and there is a mass influx of people in the chat saying, "Hang on, do something, go slower, give me that one again," let me know. Otherwise, we're just going to get through this so we can get to the Q&A. All right. So let me start with something that, based on my thousands of conversations with freelancers, I can say freelancers don't hear nearly enough. If your business feels unpredictable right now, if some months feel fantastic, you can do no wrong, and then the next month feels like you've somehow been erased from the internet, uh, it's not because you're lacking talent. So, go easy on yourself. It's not because, any particular algorithm has a personal vendetta against you. And it's certainly not because you're just not working hard enough. You need to hustle harder. Once you know what works, that's when you can hustle harder. It's usually because not enough of the right people know you exist, and the few who do know you exist um, don't have a clear picture of what problem you solve. And that's your responsibility, right? Freelancers are taught to focus on marketing tactics predominantly, and that's probably because that's easy to make content about. You can make some pretty viral marketing content, but really everything's downstream of clarity. Uh, Clarity in who you help, clarity in what problem you solve, and clarity in why you're the safest option that a lead has to solve their problem. So today, we're going to help you build that clarity and then show you how to turn it into a predictable pipeline, specifically using LinkedIn as your primary engine. All right. And I don't mean giving you post more content advice here. I mean showing you the layers of how trust is built, like how decisions are actually made on platforms like LinkedIn, and how freelancers uh, create consistent lead flow without needing to become influencers, right? Without posting every day and without coming across like a used car salesman. No disrespect to any used car salesman in the room today. We all know what I mean. By the end of this hour, you'll have a fully working system. One you can run in an hour or two a day. One that I run in an hour or two each day, and that my the business owners I've worked with on through this training have run every day. That gets you in the rooms where clients make hiring decisions long before you ever show up, right? So let's start with something foundational. Most freelancers who are, lead generation pinch, think that they have a marketing problem. They don't. They have an offer problem. And this is counterintuitive because when leads slow down, the instinct is to fix everything except the offer, right? You try posting more, you try DMing more, you update your website, you mess around with your pricing, you redo your social media profiles, you make your 17th portfolio, right? You learn an entirely new trendy skill and start chasing that one down. And regardless of what you do, somehow things get harder. It gets even more difficult to find leads because here's the paradox. The more effort you put into fixing the symptoms, the more you end up doubling down on the core issue that's actually causing all the symptoms, right? Because when your offer is vague, low stakes, not urgent, misaligned, everything downstream collapses. Your leads dry up because nobody recognizes themselves in what you're saying. Your pricing disqualifies you because the problem you solve isn't painful enough. Your sales calls feel like uphill battles because the stakes aren't high enough for the client. Your content feels like you're shouting into the void because you're talking broadly instead of talking specifically about your offer. Your referrals slow down because people can't describe you. They don't know who to put you in front of. So before we talk about any like tactical strategy, which is going to be a big part of today, I need you to get anchored in one thing. Your offer must be painfully specific. Um, and I don't mean I do web design or I do copywriting or I'm an accountant for small businesses. Like that's not an offer, that's a category. I mean I help specific type of person solve specific, urgent, costly problem and move towards specific outcome, right? Most freelancers try to compete in the skills marketplace where 100,000 others are basically saying the same thing. But the pros and the folks here today after this will know that the only thing that cuts through noise is specificity, right? Say you're the owner of a new vegan protein bar brand, right? Congratulations. That's I'm proud of you. You need someone to design your wrapper and packaging. That's the objectives. That's the problem you're solving. Are you going to hire this person? I'm an elite graphic designer with 12 years in the biz. Or are you going to hire this person? I run a 6-month in-store CPG packaging testing framework that develops data-driven design optimized for off-the-shelf purchase. Same profession, graphic designer, but one of them has positioned themselves specifically as a result in a box, right? And notice how in this one, graphic designer, this one, the word graphics or design is not mentioned once in that offer, right? It's all about the problem that you're solving for the customer, the pain that you're helping to balm. Think of specificity like a spear. You cannot break through the noise of the internet, the noise of a platform like LinkedIn with breadth, right? You can't make yourself as wide as possible and try to catch everyone. You break through with a single sharp point, right? And then after you're inside, once you're in the room, you can do some damage. You can solve multiple problems. You can build a whole ecosystem and serve your clients in all kinds of ways. But to get into that room in the first place, the spear is required, right? So how do we build that spear? Let's start with the niche. And we're going to get through this quickly because I know you guys have probably seen many a piece of content on this kind of stuff, but I just want to get us on the same sheet of music here. Without a person, there's no problem to solve. And without an industry, Sales Navigator, the commenting strategy we're going to go through, the DMing, the lead magnets, most of this training is not going to be effective, right? So, this should go super quick. Take 10 seconds to answer this question or jot it down. Who's the one person you'd love to work with next month, and what industry are they in, right? Don't overthink it. It's always surprised me how much effort freelancers put into picking a niche, and they end up picking something too broad anyways. But don't overthink it. Don't try to predict the future of your business. Just choose. We need to create focus. And if you're having difficulty choosing, take another moment here to just audit your network. Is there an industry that's overrepresented there? Do you have a lot of family in the restaurant business? Are your college buddies all in fintech? If you have folks on the inside, you're already going to be ahead of the game because it's all about networking. That's what today is dependent on. You should be able to choose a niche in 2 minutes. I mean, it's tough to hear for the people that have been spending months on this, but it's not that important. The niche is not the important part. There's no such thing as a bad niche. There's no wrong answer. You can pick literally any industry that you're interested in or that is, overrepresented in your network. The important thing is the problem you solve for that niche. It's the second half of the spear, the problem. And here's where freelancers usually go really wrong, right? Almost every freelancer with a lead generation issue I've ever encountered really had a problem issue that they didn't know about. So you need a problem that is both costly and urgent now, right? Of course, this will evolve as you go. The problems of today will not be the problems of tomorrow, but you're going to keep the tools you use to solve that problem, your craft and your expertise. Um, but you need to be able to identify what costly, urgent problem you're currently solving for your clients with those tools. Let me give you an example. Redecorating your bathroom is a problem, right? Maybe you've wanted to replace the tile, change the curtains, swap the vanity, but it's not urgent, right? And it's not costing you money every day that your bathroom is not redecorated. You can take your time, you can shop around, you can browse Pinterest, meet a few contractors, have a chat with them, see what their budget is, and say maybe we try this in a few months when we're ready, right? I've probably just described how a lot of calls with your clients go, right? So an ugly bathroom is a problem. Now imagine the pipe under your sink bursts and your bathroom is adding an inch of water every hour. Now that's a problem too, but it's something different than the first one. It's costly and urgent. Every hour of the floor is getting more and more destroyed, and the longer you wait to fix this, the more money you're going to spend repairing the damage. Are you going to spend time price shopping with a flooding bathroom? Are you going to take a few days to interview contractors and see if you guys vibe? If you don't have it in the budget, are you going to wait until you do? Nope. You're going to find the first competent person, pay them whatever it takes to show up fast, and you're going to figure it out afterwards, right? Your offer, the offer that we're going to deploy against, LinkedIn with all these strategies today, needs to solve the burst pipe problem, not the redecorating problem. All right. And you need to be brutally honest with yourself. Because the people that have optimized for this, for the burst pipe problem, um, they don't have a lot of issues in their business because the offer's done all the work for them. So this is where you want to spend the most of your time. In other words, uh, it needs to be a pain pill, not a vitamin, right? A vitamin is a nice to have. A pain pill is fix this before something breaks, right? So your only job in offer building is to match a specific person to a burst pipe, and that's it. Everything else, your pricing, your marketing, your pipeline, your inbound, your referrals, gets easier once that match is made. And the stuff we're talking about today definitely gets more effective, right? Um, you know, I mean, it'll what we're gonna build out today will move you an inch or it'll move you a mile based on this stuff, right? So if you need to, and most of you do, even those of you that are watching right now saying, "Not me, Brindle, my offer kicks ass," fix that before you go hard on today's strategy. Really assess. Now, once the offer is clear, we get into the part freelancers never realize is the real engine. And this is the part that I want you to really lean in for today. Uh, Most jobs never make it to the internet, right? The opportunities that would change your business, the opportunities that changed my business, my friends' businesses, the ones that pay well, the ones that are actually fun, the ones that respect your expertise and your opinion and build your reputation, those happen at the me and you level, not the public job post level, right? Let me explain what I mean by that. Well, let's do this. Imagine your own behavior, right? Let's say you have a costly, urgent problem that needs solved. If it's done improperly, it's the death of your business. So we're talking important, urgent, high stakes, right? How do you go about finding the person that you'll trust to solve this problem for your business? First, you'll ask, who do I know that can solve this problem? That's the first stage of the networking gauntlet, the me level. If you don't know anyone who's a master at solving that problem, right? What's the next thing you're going to do? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to ask your trusted network of friends and family and fellow business owners, hey, do you know anyone that's really elite at solving this problem? Have you worked with anyone that's fixed this for you, right? That's the second stage of the networking gauntlet, the you level. Only after all that, if a job makes it through the me and the you levels of the networking gauntlet, will you then hit the internet and see what Google or Upwork has to say? Who would the algorithm recommend, right? Who does the internet suggest? the people that are optimizing for, for ads or SEO or social media, um, are fighting over scraps, the things, the jobs that didn't make it through the you and the me stages of the network gauntlet. And I can almost hear you now saying, well, aren't I in a webinar about a social media platform, right? To which I would say that LinkedIn is not social media. It's not. It's not a social media platform, and I'll show you more of what I'm talking about in a minute here. But it's basically what LinkedIn is, the business conference experience at scale. They've taken the experience of a B2B networking conference and put it on the internet. And it's just open 24/7 at any point in the day. You can walk in and insert yourself into a conversation on the show floor, right? But yeah, j jobs are decided in the me you stage. They're decided in emails. They're decided in Slack groups and DMs and comment sections on LinkedIn, texts between coworkers, referrals, meetings, uh, internal conversations. And this is what I call networking at scale, not networking the old-fashioned way, shaking hands and swapping business cards at the conventions, but digitally inserting yourself into the rooms where decisions are being made long before the decisions make them their way to the internet stage of the gauntlet, right? And doing that at scale on LinkedIn. This becomes a lot simpler once you shift your mindset from I need to get clients to I need to make buddies. Because the truth is, a buddy is more valuable than a customer. And many of you probably understand this, even if you haven't like put pen to paper to make this observation. But let's draw it out here. You're all probably familiar with this. This is your basic funnel, right? You find some leads, you nurture them effectively, and most disappear, and a handful become clients, right? This isn't the business I want you to build. And this type of funnel is such a waste of the value that LinkedIn offers. So today, networking at scale, what we're talking about, looks more like you make a bunch of buddies, and you nurture those relationships, and they recommend you to their networks and teams within their company. A customer gives you one project, a buddy gives you visibility in their entire network, right? A buddy talks about you, a buddy engages with your posts, refers you without being asked, and more often than not, a buddy eventually becomes a client anyway, right? This is why our outbound strategy today, on LinkedIn is not about selling at scale. It's about connecting at scale. And here's where most freelancers have been building on a false belief. They think outbound is inherently salesy, but outbound only feels salesy if you're trying to sell, right? If your goal is to make friends, not customers, outbound becomes one of the most enjoyable parts of your business. Now, let's get tactical here. The backbone of your pipeline is your sales navigator engine, but not in the way that most people teach it. A lot of folks kind of teach outbound as a numbers game, send 500 messages, get 4 replies, that kind of thing. We're not doing that. We're building a system that reliably puts you in front of the right people and turns them into warm relationships, the kind that make you unforgettable. So here's how you'll use Sales Navigator the freelancer way. And I'm going to switch over to my other screen. How's everybody doing while we're doing this? Let's pull up the chat. Are we okay, cool. We're sharing LinkedIn's. We're doing good. So far, so good. Whoop, whoop. Love it. All right, cool. Following along. Looking to make buddies too. Yes. Hey, that would be cool if everybody here connects on LinkedIn after this, so we can all help each other out. And also, while we're at it, guys, send me a connection request. I'm happy to connect with the folks here, if we're not already in touch. All right, cool. So let's do this. Come on, Brindle, you can do it. If I go to this little button and I pick Google Chrome, right? Okay. Is that my Sales Navigator? Okay. Nothing incriminating in my tabs. All right, sweet. So everybody open up your Sales Navigator. It's going to look like this, right? Let me move this over here. Let's get to building some stuff out here. We're going to create two lead lists and two saved searches today. And at the end of this, that will mean something to you. So first thing we're going to do is build some lead lists. Just go with me here and you'll get what these are for in a minute. So go to the leads tab, and I'm going to kind of talk slowly here because I want everybody to keep up. So click on this leads tab here. Okay, and over here on the right side, you're going to see create lead list. All right, so we're going to click that, and we're going to make a couple lead lists. We're going to call this one uh, connection request sent A. Go ahead and copy that because we're going to be making a couple that are the same. So connection request sent A, create. Okay, let's make another list. We're going to do connection request sent B, create. And let's just go ahead and make one more. We'll call it C. Connection request sent C, create. Now I think I have 5 of these at this point, my own. So that's what A, B, C, D, E, B, C, D, E. Yeah. So I'm on E. But the reason we make a bunch of these is because they have a cap. You can only have like 900 people per lead list or something like that. Okay, let's make a couple more, and it's going to be a different title. So this we're going to call first message sent A. Go ahead and copy that because we're going to make 3 of these too. Create another one. First message sent B. Create. Do one last one. First message sent C. Create. Okay. So we've created 3 versions of 2 different lead lists, right? And lead lists are simply buckets where you put every single person that you have either sent a connection request to or sent a message to, right? And as I mentioned, each one of these variations, ABC, is because you can only fill these lists with, they say 1,000, but for safety, I only fill them up to 900. And then these lists will become exclusions in your saved searches, which we're going to build next. So these are ways that you can kind of tag and categorize, who's at what stage of this process, right? So let's build our saved searches out now. Let's start with the first search, the send connect search. So what we're going to do is up here in this little search bar, you're going to see a button that says lead filters with a plus. Let's go ahead and click that. All right. And this search that we build will spit out a list of people that you should send 200 connection requests to this week, and then next week, and then the week after. What I just clicked on. So in the search, let's go back. So you just up here in this search bar, you're going to see a little button that says lead filters with plus. All right. So you just click on that button and it's going to bring up all these filters. Is everybody with us? I don't have the chat open. Let me know if everybody's good. All right, cool. Um, so where was I? Oh yeah, so 200 connection requests is the max that you're able to send out each week. So we want to maximize that. We want to take advantage of that, right? So many people aren't even sending out any connection requests, but a lot of them are sending out, 12. So we're going to send out 200 a week. So let's build out this first saved search, the send connect search. Let's stick with the example from before. and say that we're a graphic designer who optimizes packaging for CPG brands. Remember that when we were talking about the vegan protein bar? So this graphic designer runs a monthly A/B test on packaging elements for brands that are in grocery stores. So let's start at the top. I'm talking about this imaginary freelancer. You do this for you, right? Let's start at the top with company headcount. So for this imaginary freelancer, um, I'm likely looking at smaller brands here. A company like Kraft, or Mondelez is already going to have a floor of employees dedicated to this effort to solving this problem. So for my freelancer, we're going to look at uh, pretty much self-employed 1 to 10, 11 to 50, and I'll probably cap it at 200 employees. I would imagine after 200, this ceases to be something that they're looking for. Personal page. Yeah, personal page. It's a great question. Um, yeah, so the question was, are you doing this for your business or your personal page? Everything that I do is going to be on a personal page on LinkedIn, right? These are humans interacting with humans. That's the way. But again, remember, it's like if you were at a business conference that's open 24/7. You're not walking into that business conference with your company's logo on over your face, right? It's like you're walking in as you doing business on behalf of your company. So you're trying to make relationships with other people doing business on behalf of their company. So be you. All right. So company headcount, company type is the next one that we care about. And again, for me, for my imaginary freelancer, public company is probably going to be too big. So we're going to go privately held, uh, partnership, self-employed, and self-owned. Those make the most sense for somebody who's trying to reach out to people that sell food products in grocery stores, right? Um, so let's do that. Now, who are we looking to get in front of? Let's come down to the role section here. Who feels the pain that you can fix, right? Who, if, Let me X out of this real quick. My graphic designer who makes stuff for food companies, you know, who's that person trying to get in front of? You could probably think of 3 or 4 job titles, that would work. Uh, if you were to just put some effort into it, but really. I like to use ChatGPT here. I like to deploy ChatGPT against this effort with everybody that I build this out for. So I went ahead and typed out a search this morning for expediency's sake. So let's add all these job titles here. So this is, where did we have job titles? Here we go. So ChatGPT, I typed in, hey, I'm a graphic designer and I solved this problem for CPG brands. What are the job positions that I should get in front of on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right? And it wrote out uh, uh, all of these positions that we're going to add to the list. So if you have a handful of people that normally work with you, maybe you're a developer and you work with technical directors and blah blah blah, like by all means put those in to the roles, but I'm going to go ahead and put all of these in. I'm going to If I move this out, does it disappear? Okay, cool. So I've just got this list up on the side here. I'm in the Zoom here. So I'm going to put all of these into the current job title section here. And you can do the same. Ask ChatGPT, hey, what job titles should I add? For a lot of you, I'll do the ones that a lot of you are probably going to add anyways. You're probably looking at founder. You're probably looking at co-founder, CEO, president. This becomes less the case now if you only work with enterprise. So if your company headcount is 500 to 2,000, you're probably not looking for the CEO. You're probably looking for VP of marketing, things like that, right? So keep that in mind. CEO is not bothering with you. Owner, general manager, um, CMO, do VP of marketing since I mentioned it. VP of marketing. Come on, Brindle. VP of marketing, director of marketing, director. Let's do see if there's anything under brand. Uh, love brand director. There you go. That's another thing is LinkedIn's categories are notoriously there's a little bit of an art that goes into it because a lot of times the things that the options they give you aren't super nail on the head. Creative director. Let's see some stuff about product and packaging. So let's do head of product. Let's do director of product. And again, feel free to let's do product to wait, let's what was that other one? Director. Feel free to steal these if this imaginary offer is close to yours. Here you go, product marketing. Let's see here is packaging thing. Packaging. Yeah, sweet. All right, let's do packaging engineer because my freelancer packaging manager works on packaging. Um, okay. Let's call it there. That's enough. ChatGPT gave me a lot more than that, but we'll call it there for expediency's sake. Does everybody have a couple good job titles in? Can we move on to the next one? Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to now figure out what the hell I'm doing. Where did that window go? Okay, cool. All right, so next we're going to come down here to personal geography. Add geography if it's important to you. I would say it's not important to our hypothetical freelancer. Um, but if you wanted to, you could get as specific as what cities you want to be searching in. All right, so like we could add North America. That's its first suggestion there. But like if I just wanted to do like, major cities in the United States, like I could just be like, New York, uh, and there are different, a few different options for each one. We could do Los Angeles, like they've got LA County, LA California, LA Metropolitan. Just add all of those, I'd add everything, et cetera, et cetera. So, or you could do entire countries, say you uh, just want German, brands. So you just type in Germany. So if geography is important to you, add it there. I'll take a pause and have a sip of my coffee while people that are doing geography can add. How are we looking in the chat? Let's give you guys just a second here. Okay. All right, let's move on. If you've added your geography in, now we're on to industry here. This is the next thing we care about on this list, right? And if you don't know which categories to pick, again, for your niche, you can ask ChatGPT for help through this whole search building process. So it won't always give you industry categories exist on Sales Navigator. So you got to work with it a little bit and kind of massage it. Um, but feel free to use ChatGPT here. So, okay, we're looking for food brands that are selling CPG. So let's go consumer goods. That's what the C and the G stand for in CPG. Consumer goods. Let's see what food and beverage things we've got. Food and beverage, manufacturing. Want to include that. What did I see? Retail. Food and beverage retail. We'll include that. Might as well just do food and beverage. All right. Let's see what else. Food production. Um, let's do health and wellness. I sometimes will add for food things. It makes sense. Uh, let's see what retail options we got. Retail groceries. That's good. We'll include that. Um, I think that's enough. I was just gonna check and see if there's any food and service combination wholesale food and beverage. We'll include that. So those are wholesalers, people that sell to only to grocery stores. Um, let's see if there's any other health choices. No. Um, see convenience, maybe. No. All right, we'll leave it there. Cool. So that's your industry. Hopefully you've worked with ChatGPT to pick a few out. But I mean, you saw how I did it. I literally just like I know I'm looking for food and beverage, so I just kind of typed in food first to see what came up. And then from there you explore a little. I went health and wellness, I went retail, I went wholesale. What are the other angles of people that, ha that are making food products that could need some new packaging? Like what would they classify themselves as on LinkedIn? So we'll close that up. So we've done all of it. So we're going to come back up here to the top. And we want to toggle on, post it on LinkedIn right here. And this alone is going to increase your acceptance rate significantly because active people respond, and inactive people don't, right? And then we're going to withhold. No, never mind. We're good there. We're going to come down here. We're going to exclude them from the connection request sent lead lists that we made, right? So we made three of these. We'll exclude, oops. That's my actual one. Let's see here. Where's the other imaginary one that we made? Just one in. Sweet. Okay. So you're going to exclude them from these three lead lists, right? Because you only want to see results of people that you have not sent a connection request to. Okay. That's it. You've just made your connection request save search. So we're going to save this result, toggle up here. You see where it says save search to get notified of new results at the very top in kind of a blue box. Toggle that on. Your search was saved. If you want to title it right now, you can hit manage saved searches. A little side one will come up. And you can edit what it's called. And I'll call this one imaginary. We'll call it what you guys would call it. So you're going to want to call it send connection requests. I like to keep it easy. When you log into Sales Navigator, the list just tells you what to do. So call it send connection requests. So every time you open that list, that's what you're doing. You're opening it to send connection requests, right? So each week, you're going to want to pick a 45-minute window to come here and open up this list. And as you'll see here, we have 12,000 results of people that fit uh, that fit the bill, essentially. These are all people that have food brands that are the size that we want them to be, that are, founding members, chief marketing officer, all the things that we said we wanted, all the people we said we wanted to be talking to, right?
Can you go back and show how you saved that?
I don't know if I can show how I say it. So you were in this, so up here where this little box, this toggle at the top shouldn't, if you haven't saved it yet, this toggle wouldn't be on. So where it says save search to get no new results, toggle that on. So this excluded, and then she said people are confused about the excluded list. So this is down here where we excluded our connection requests. That's because what's going to happen is, I'm going to collapse this right now. What's going to happen is, you see we have 12,000 results here, right? So we're going to send out 200 connection requests to people on this list, but we want to make sure that they're not people we've already sent out connection requests to. We don't want to waste this, because what will happen is after a month or so of doing this, the first several pages are all going to be people that you've already sent a request to if you didn't exclude those lists. So you go all the way to the bottom and go to the next page and go all the way to the bottom and go to the next page until you found a page that had new people on it, right? So to save you from that, we've excluded those people, right? So the second you send a connection request, they get taken off of this search. They won't appear again. So it's a way for you to just simplify this whole process. Does that make sense? Um, Courtney said yes on behalf of all of you. Courtney's taking notes. Okay, cool. So
The exclude.
it's here in the exclude function is here in the workflow section. It's just you just under lead list, you hit the plus, and then you would pick and you would choose exclude for your three connection request lead lists, right? Um, so like for instance, this is a lead list that I made for an event we did in LA, right? So I would just hit exclude if I didn't want them to be on this list, right? Okay. Okay. So each week we're going to take 45 minutes, open up this list from the home page, right? There's just I'll show you where it is at the end of this. It's just literally top of the home page. It says saved searches. Click on it and you can pick which one to open up. And all you're going to do, or you could get a VA to do this too, if you want somebody else, if you don't want to spend time doing this. But I would suggest you at least be the one that does it for the first couple weeks. Um, I like to get a beat on who's in the industry, who's doing what, how people are talking about themselves. And it's just, I mean, we're talking 40, 45 minutes here, tops, max. You're gonna select all, and you're gonna save everybody on this. So there's 25 people per page. You're gonna save everybody on this list to connection request sent A, right? And when that gets to like 900, then you're going to start saving them to connection request B. And when that gets to like 900, you're going to start saving them to connection request C. All right. So you've saved this whole page to that lead list. And now you're going to go down the page and just send a connection request. I'm going to connect with a bunch of food industry people for you guys. These people are going to be like, why is this guy reaching out to me? You're just going to send a connection request, right? And you just go down the list and connect. And what we've found, and our primary data confirms this, and our and friends of ours who run massive LinkedIn agencies, their primary data confirms this. If you connect without sending a personal message, you're going to get a much better result. If you take the time to send a personal message here, you're taking too much, it's taking time out of your day, and it's hurting your response rate. It's hurting your acceptance rate because something happens where, when somebody receives a connection request with a message, either they perceive it as homework that they have to read this message, or it comes across as too salesy. Like already this person's pitching me and I haven't even accepted a request, and they just don't accept them. That's great news for us. It's a lot faster to just do this. Just hit send invitation, right? You go down the list. Believe me on it. Believe me on it. I've been doing it for over a year now, and we've tested it, and we have friends that do it for enterprise clients. We've just started doing it for enterprise clients. Um, Oops, that's the wrong button to click. All these poor people are getting invitations from me. They're like, why is this guy reaching out to me? But you just go down the list, and you send out 200. You keep going until you hit your 200 of the week. Now, I like to actually stop at 175 because I'd like to have a few extra connection requests for the week. As I'm in my feed in LinkedIn, if I see somebody who's talking about something that I'm interested in, or if I see somebody that I think I should be connected to, I like to have a connection request available to send to that person. So do what works for you here, but remember, but your max is 200, and you want to try and get that max every week, and it resets, whenever it was that you sent out your initial 200.
You do a session.
Question is, do I do it in one session or a couple a day? And I do it in one session. It's not that, I like it's like 30 minutes of your day. But you could totally do it, just resolve to do, what's 200 divided by 7? Do however many that is a day, a day. All right. So that's your connection request saved list. And now that you know how to do this, you can do it with for a bunch of things, right? So if, say you're this CPG packaging designer and you want to spend a few weeks building up your network with agency owners in the food and beverage space, or you want to target food and beverage associations, right? So these aren't the people that own the brands; these are the other people that serve brands in your space, hub and spoke clients. You keep all the industry information and you change the job titles to match, right? And you change the company headcounts to match. And you can again deploy ChatGPT against this effort and then just save that search. And maybe this week you're reaching out to brand owners, and next week you're going to reach out to agency owners, and the week after that you're going to reach out to associations, directors, and then maybe you'll do another 3 weeks on brand owners. So you just have those lists available to you. We have our saved searches. We have like we're doing a tour in next year of freelancer meetups with whatever, you guys are getting some insider information with this company that's going to provide us venues, and so they've got venues in all these cities in the country. So I'm connecting with freelancers in those cities, right? So this is a list that's purely for cities that they're in: New York, Las Vegas, Park City, what have you. So you can build out saved searches for, whatever business objective you have at the moment on LinkedIn. This is just going to be your basic one. This is going to be the one, the one that's full of all of your clients. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's build a second saved search. Let's get out of here. That's the quickest way to get you here. I'm going to build one more saved search. So go back to the home page. Otherwise, we would have had to X out of everything that you just said. So go back to the home page, make sure you save that save search. And once again, you're going to tap this lead filters button, right? Okay, now we got a blank slate here. And this one's a lot simpler. This is the search that we'll use to send out our messages and start having conversations with people that accept the connection request. I'm gonna minimize this. Sorry guys, I'm just doing a little window maintenance here. Got a lot of windows open. Okay. So this search shows you every person who accepted your connection request but hasn't gotten a first message from you yet. So this is the real gold, right? Because this is where DMs become your retargeting. So let's start this new search. We're going to go over to, this one's just like two things. So we're going to go over to the best path in section and connection. And we're going to only do first degree connections, right? Because they've accepted your connection request. That means they're a first degree connection. And then we're going to go down here to lead list. All right. And this time we're going to include connection requests sent. Right. So this means these are people. Shit, where did that go? It was connection sent C, connection request sent A, and then connection request sent B. Cool. So we're going to include all of our connection requests sent. Because these are, so basically what the math that Sales Navigator is doing here is, okay, this is a list of people that have accepted a connection request from me from the list that I sent to, right? And then what you want to do is exclude message sent, because this is a list of people that you need to send messages to. So exclude those 3 lead lists that you made. What?
Someone can accept the request themselves.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Like it's a really cool. It's really fun to do this. This is literally what networking looks like in 2025. Um, okay, so that I believe is it. What did we do? We did best by 10 first degree connection success. Cool. Yeah, so we're gonna save this search. See, that one was easy. I told you. So we're gonna come back up here to this top toggle, save search to get notified of new results. We'll save it. And if you want to name it, you come down here to the bottom where it says manage saved searches in this little pop-up box. We're going to call this one send first message. All right. So you've got two saved searches here, and this is pretty much home base on Sales Navigator. You know, once a week you're going to come in, you're going to open up send connection requests and send your requests. And then every day or every other day, whatever cadence you want, check in on this saved search and see who's new, see who's accepted your request, right? Um, the thing is, right now, if I were to click on this, there's nothing here because none of my grocery people have accepted my request yet, right? But this will be populated here. Maybe I'll do, let's see if this is in a breach of, uh, let's see here. Should I not do art? Yeah, okay, cool. As I say, should I do mine? But okay, what's going to happen is this list will be populated with people that I was going to pull up our request, but then I just put, a bunch of strangers' names in front of you. I think that would be impolite. We've already done that to enough grocery people. But this list will populate with people who accepted your connection requests and who are first degree connections. And it's the same, you're going to do the same thing that you did before, where you select all, save to a list, first message sent. And then you come down here and you tap the little speech bubble and you send them a message. All right. Uh, Piece of cake. That can be a daily effort. That can be a weekly effort. However many people are accepting, and however quickly you want to start conversations with them. That's up to you. So let's change back to our presentation here because I want to show you the script, some scripting options for that initial message because you're going to want to screenshot this or write this down. And yes, you can send directly from Sales Navigator. I just read that one. Was it?
We've seen people getting blocked for sending that much right up front since it's not kind of warmed up. Have you experienced that or?
It's not a thing on LinkedIn. It's not a thing on Sales Navigator. So the question was,
It wasn't a question, but somebody said that they've seen some people get blocked on LinkedIn, from LinkedIn because of how many they sent.
yeah, so you've seen some people, have seen people getting blocked because of how many they send. Um, it's not a thing on Sales Navigator. This is what Sales Navigator is for. So it's if you were to be on any social media platform, if you do certain actions a number of time, it'll block you off, right? But this is on Sales Navigator. You can send 200 a week just fine. Say what? Interesting. Who's saying that? Where is it saying that? Where is it saying that? Maybe they have a different subscription.
Because 100 is the limit. A lot of people are seeing 100. So.
Where? I wonder what is, wouldn't that be funny if sales navigator. Let's see if it says it on their homepage.
Yeah, I think it depends on the subscription.
Yeah, this one says 250. So
Different locations have different.
I've yet to encounter that. We've done this all over.
You can set it on your account activity and history. That's what Kevin said he looked up in ChatGPT.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe do this for this is I can honestly say it's not something we've encountered in, probably 100 accounts that we've set up this year alone. Everybody's done 200, but if you want to play it safe, maybe do 50 for the first week and just warm it up. Um, but yeah, again, primary experience, I guess, not legal advice. Check with your, but primary experience has shown that that's a non-issue. But I'm glad that we worked that one out. All right, cool. So let's get to this part here. Yeah, if you want to warm it up, by all means, warm it up. Don't let me bully you into just going whole hog here. Where's our presentation? Okay, we back to this. Okay, cool. What?
If this Zoom call doesn't loop like your TikTok reels, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Damn it, I should. It said if this Zoom call doesn't loop like your reels, I'm gonna be disappointed. I should have. I'm gonna have to work that in. I'm gonna have to figure that out. That would have been so good. Oh man, I hate missed opportunities like that. All right, so we were talking about what that initial outreach message is going to be. All right. So here's the message that you're going to be sending, to folks on that list, on that, when you send that initial outreach. It's some version of this, and you're going to be split testing and experimenting and tweaking this message. That's just part of your day job now. But to get you started, it's something like, "Hey, person, appreciate you connecting. Didn't want to come empty-handed, so here's something my clients have been finding useful," right? And that thing that you hand them should legit be useful. Like I mean, and it shouldn't be an ad for you, and it shouldn't be hiding behind an email gate. By all means, pixel that page where whatever that thing is, so that you can get pixel data on the people that go there in case when it's time to run retargeting ads. But you don't want to show up empty-handed. You're showing up to their house. Here's something my clients have been finding useful. I promise there's no pitch on the other side of this. Just trying to meet more people in XYZ industry. And any exciting goals for the next 12 weeks or so, right? So this last question here, this is where the real testing is going to happen, right? Um, you want to see what gets the most replies, right? That's it. It's don't do the permission to pitch thing. You're not trying to get, get them on a call. This isn't like thinly veiled small talk. You're legitimately trying to get them to reply here. So experiment with what questions people get most excited about. And then the next lever that you want to pull, the next thing to experiment with would be that first, the first one, the "Hey, name appreciates you connecting," right? What are other ways that you can say that sparks curiosity and gets people interested? Because that's going to be what they see in the little window in their inbox. Um, this one message does three powerful things. It gives value because the lead magnet that your clients are getting use out of, which creates goodwill. It removes pressure, which creates safety. They're more comfortable replying because you're saying there's no pitch on the other side of this thing. Remember, you get the trophy if you make a buddy, not if you make a sale. And it triggers the algorithm, which creates visibility. So let's talk about that last one. When someone replies to one of your DMs, LinkedIn assumes you're best friends. And when LinkedIn thinks you're besties, your content starts appearing in their feed constantly, right? So this means that your outbound and your content start to reinforce one another. And that's why I always say that your DMs are your retargeting ads. So there you go. If you're sending out 200 connection requests per week, once you get to 200, maybe you're going to start at 50 and work your way to 200. But if you're sending out 200 connection requests per week, and say you're getting like a 25 percent acceptance rate, that's 200 new leads per month, right? That's 200 new conversations started in the DMs. That's 200 chances each month to make buddies that refer you to their networks and that likely slot you in to solve their problems as well. All right. And I know that we said 34 leads to get you guys here. And people were asking in the comments on Instagram, on TikTok, why such a specific number? And I couldn't tell them that it's just because we honestly didn't think anyone would believe 200. So we just made up a number that we thought they would believe. But 200 leads is what we're looking at. 200 conversations sparked each month on LinkedIn. As long as you apply this, this what we've gone through, and this what we're about to go through. Um, so let's talk about comments. Because this is one of the most misunderstood, highest leverage parts of LinkedIn. Comments are not just engagement, comments are content. They're such an important part of the platform that LinkedIn has started allowing you to see uh, the impression count of each of your comments, and they often outperform posts in reach. I'm a professional content creator and I make some pretty good posts, and there have been many days where the 50 comments that my team and I left that day on LinkedIn dwarfed the impression count of whatever content we posted. And this will be even more true for you who's using because you're using LinkedIn to find clients as opposed to build an audience. Um, Unlike posts, comments place you inside other people's rooms, right? So you're borrowing their audience and their trust and their context, and leveraging it for you. So let's get tactical here, because it's the next most important part of how you can use LinkedIn to grow your business. First thing you're going to do after this webinar is create a list of three groups of people. You want 10 to 15 thought leaders in your niche who are active on LinkedIn. So, who are the people on LinkedIn that your ideal customer is following for advice and for entertainment, right? That have big audiences. So, for me, that would be like an Alex Hermosi or a Gary Vaynerchuk type person who's people who are on LinkedIn talking to small business owners giving advice. Next, you want to create a list of 10 to 15 practitioners of people who work alongside, your niche, right? So these are people that are posting regularly also about your corner of the industry. So say you're a fashion photographer. These would be designers, hairstylists, venue owners, agents, publicists, et cetera, within the fashion industry, right? So pick the folks, the 10 to 15 folks who are most present on the platform, who are getting the most engagement, who are doing, anywhere between a dozen and 50 comments a post, people that you can go and engage in their comment sections. And then excuse me, the third list is 10 to 15 people at brands that you'd like to work with, or even entire teams at those brands. Like if there's a company that you know you'd be good for, and you want to kind of do the little bighorn and start slowly introducing yourself to them in a way that's not, a straight up cold pitch, and engage with them. So these people on this list likely won't be posting. On the other two lists, these guys are posting every day, multiple times a day. These guys are posting, a couple times a week. These guys aren't posting at all, but they're commenting. And so you're going to want to reply to their comments in a meaningful and impactful way, right? So on these two, you're commenting on their posts, and on this one, you're replying to comments, right? Every day, leave comments that demonstrate how you think and how you problem solve, right? And your experience and expertise. So not, you know, love this fire emoji or thanks for sharing, but real insight and perspective. Like comments that signal, you know, I get this industry. I understand the painful problems that this niche is dealing with. I know how to fix it. I fix it all the time. I'm here to help, right? How many of these comments should you be leaving daily? It's truly up to you. The important part is that you pick a target that's sustainable, because you want to be you want to keep up with it, right? I'd say to resolve to leave at least 10 comments per day, at the least. But the more comments you leave, the more result you will get. It's very mathematical. What are you laughing at? Past comments. You guys are making Courtney laugh over there. But whoever's yucking it up, you're making my wife laugh. Um, but yeah, it's very mathematical. There are some people who will hire VAs and leave 1,000 comments a day. It's pretty extreme, and that one you do warm up to. That is in my notes. But sharing to demonstrate the point. But anywhere between 10 and 100 comments a day would be a great goal, and not all at once, right? So you don't want to like block off an hour in the morning to leave 100 comments. You'll likely LinkedIn will tell you to slow down. But maybe 15-minute blocks, right? Uh, have notifications turned on for the thought leaders. So anytime they post, you get a notification, you go in and you're the first comment on their post, and then you spend another 10 minutes commenting on other stuff, right? Um,
What are your thoughts on pitching?
don't pitch on comments. No. Yeah. If somebody asks what are your thoughts on pitching on comments? You're purely adding to the conversation, right? This is a demonstrative exercise. Here, you're um very I would say, nothing that we're talking about today involves a pitch. The strategy is they end up pitching themselves, right? Uh, in the DMs, in that first DM message that we sent, it says, "I promise there's no pitch coming," right? And that's to open them up and that let them have a conversation. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't talk about the success you're seeing with other clients. So that between you and I, here, the folks in this room, that's a pitch, right? But you're not pitching them. You're being va but like the paper definition of a pitch, it is not. It is you presenting them with value, saying, because if you ask what's your 12-week goal, and they say, oh, we're really trying to figure out this conversion rate on this landing page. It's just not where we need it to be. Then you can say, oh yeah, we actually, my client 2 months ago had the same issue, and we did this, and that for it. Have you thought about that? Maybe integrate these two things, and let me know if you have any questions at all. Happy to be a sounding board, right? That's that's as pitchy as you're going to get. But really, what it is you're presenting value. You're presenting value in the DMs, you're presenting value here in the comments. You're just presenting value, and you're building yourself up as the expert, right? Um, because what's going to happen is eventually this the outbound becomes inbound, which we're getting to here. But yeah, so 10 to 100 comments per day. And if I blow through questions here, make sure you add them to the question thing so we can get to the end here, and then we'll do all the Q and A's. 10 to 100 a day would be a great goal, because here's kind of the outcome we're manufacturing with this commenting thing. People don't engage with LinkedIn the way they engage with TikTok or Instagram, right? They don't open the app multiple times a day and spend hours on it. They open it once or twice a week. And when someone in your niche logs on to LinkedIn once or twice a week, their feed becomes a recap of, the last several days, kind of the greatest hits of the last several days in their niche. And because you've been active in all the right comment sections every day of that week for several hours, they're gonna see your face, your name, your headline next to a valuable comment a dozen times every time they open the app, right? A few weeks of that, and you'll simply become the person who solves that problem for their niche on LinkedIn, right? This creates familiarity. Familiarity reduces risk. And if you're familiar with my content, I've explained this one often, is that the deciding factor isn't talent so much as it is certainty. And any risk reduction increases buying likelihood. This is how the dark funnel works, right? The layers of decision making that clients go through before you ever show up. They're forming impressions of you in moments that you're not involved in. So imagine after a few months of seeing you show up like this, they get a connection request and a first DM from you with a valuable lead magnet. You see how this works? Now they recognize your name and your face in that connection request, and they're excited to see what you have to say about their business. Um, People hire the freelancer they recognize, not the freelancer who's objectively the best, ever. This is always true. The freelancer that they've seen 10 times that week, the freelancer whose name feels familiar. So, what does this look like in practice? Uh, you're going to want to create a spreadsheet that tracks comment content, date and time, and link to the original comment. That way, you or a VA can go back 48 hours later to check the impression counts of the comments to determine what's working and what's not, right? You always want to let the data be your guide. Here's a screenshot of my comment tracker from July, sorted by highest impression counts, right? And I'll do that at the end of the month because guess which of these comments I develop into their own posts the next month, right? So not only is this tracking effort informing future comments, and we're training ChatGPT for both myself and my VAs to use, but it's also informing future content because it's telling me which topics speak the language of my niche on LinkedIn, right? What are people reacting to? And then this brings us to the profile. Um, if everything I just said about commenting is true, it is, then how important do you think your profile picture and the headline beneath your name that shows up next to each one of those comments are? Quite important, right? They'll remember your profile and headline long before they remember your name. For many of my followers, I was the mustache freelancing guy on LinkedIn long before I was Jamie Brindle. So you'll want a profile picture that is unique enough to be remembered. And that can just mean you claiming a background color. You can be the chick with the bright orange background that talks about, packaging design for protein bars on LinkedIn. Like that could also mean that you have a prop in your photo, etc. Like keep it true to your industry, keep it professional, but make it memorable. And then the headline you go with is what people will use to decide if they're going to accept your connection request, right? Or if they're going to open a DM from you or just follow you directly from the feed. This is what informs most followers' decision. So it needs to convey your offer in a simple, clever way, pointing to the pain that you solve in a manner that makes it seem so simple. That to them you must have the solution. The headline isn't the place to put that you're a dog lover, or to get cute and say you're a problem-solving wizard, or any of that stuff. That's great. Great that you love dogs, and it's great that you're a problem-solving wizard, but the headline's not your place to convey that information, right? You want to use words that everyone understands to convey why they should pay attention to you in this moment. Um, Now, profile picture and headline are elements uh, that follow you wherever you are on the site. So, connection requests, DMs, comments, your profile picture and your headline are going to be right there with all those things. But what about the tools specific to the profile page? Well, let's start with why anybody in this day and age would even be on your profile page to begin with, when they could just follow you from the feed, right? They're there for the vibe check. People don't go to the profile page to follow you. If they read your comment, they read your headline, and they suss out that you're somebody that they want more of in their life, they'll just follow you from that comment or from that post. But if they've made it to your profile page, it's because they're there for the vibe check, and they're not going to take the time to scroll down to your work history or to look at what skills you've been endorsed for, right? All kind of the old school LinkedIn stuff, back when it was more of a tool for corporate America. They're going to glance at your banner and your pin post and maybe your about section, and make their determination, right, on if they should accept a connection request from you, or if they should follow you. So your profile is simply the clarity layer that exists for the vibe check, right? People should be able to glance at your page and know exactly what problem you solve, for whom, and what type of a strategic partner you'll be. So your banner can be the logo wall of clients that you've worked with, or a few words about the problem you solve, or a few like short sentence long testimonials, like what they put on movie posters, right? Your pinned post can be your most powerful case study, right? Help them imagine the end result of working with you by showing them, the end result that somebody else achieved working with you. And your about section can demonstrate your personality a little bit and show what you'll be like to communicate with, right? Feel free to put that you love dogs here or that you're a problem-solving wizard here. But this is where you get to show off your personality a little bit. Finally, let's talk about posting. Love how this is the last thing on the list. Like this is the lowest priority for this on LinkedIn is posting. It like speaks volumes about what I said earlier that LinkedIn is not a social media platform. It's a networking conference. You can get away with not posting at all if you do everything else that we've talked about. If you're doing everything else, you don't have to post. If you get specific about your offer and niche, if you run your weekly connection campaign, DM accepts with a lead magnet, comment 10 to 100 times a day, optimize your profile. You're already doing way better than the pack on LinkedIn. You're putting in a solid A effort. But if you do post, you get to move from an A to an A plus. And I know we're a bunch of overachieving mofos here. So let's get you to an A plus. Posting for you is not about going viral. It's not about building an audience. That's not what you're doing on LinkedIn. It's simply about building familiarity and trust at scale. On LinkedIn, the only metric worth optimizing for is comments. On other social media platforms, it's likes and sends, likes and shares, uh, and saves. Um, Shares being most important, but on LinkedIn, it's comments. Comments tell LinkedIn that your content is sparking conversation, and conversation is the currency of that platform because again, it's not a social network; it's a damn conference. Um, how do you do this? How do you make a post that sparks conversation? You start with a hook around the problem you solve that opens a curiosity gap, right? That means it's a question that they'll need to stop and read to get the answer. You have to grab you have to hijack their attention with that opening sentence. And then you follow that with a singular insight, right? Don't make a post about 19 things. Just a singular insight that's clever or unexpected or that simplifies a concept that your clients previously thought to be complicated or that's contrarian to popular belief in your industry, right? So that's the body of the post. And then all that's left to do is stimulate discussion. So you ask a juicy question that they can't help but weigh in on, and go get yourself some of them comments, right? Uh, so this is what an example of what a post like this would look like. The hook, the skill that separates six-figure freelancers from everyone else. Most people don't even consider it a skill. What are you talking about, Jamie? What is that? Contrary to what you hear online, it's not niche, not content, not pricing. It's the ability to ask the right question at the right moment, the kind that reveals the real problem, not the one the client thinks they have. Okay, interesting. What's the best question you ask clients that has paid off again and again, right? So people can't help themselves. They're so excited to share how, what awesome questions they've asked clients or what they've discovered in their years in the business in the industry, right? Or people that aren't as elite or aren't as seasoned will run to that comment section to read what the seasoned freelancers are posting, right? And engage and like and reply. If someone comments on your post, their entire network will see your post. That's the way it works on LinkedIn. Um, and if you get one of them to comment, somebody from their network to comment, then their entire network sees it, right? Um, but even more importantly, comments mean that your content is creating recognition, and recognition builds familiarity, and familiarity builds trust, and trust leads to inbound. And that's where all this is headed. We built an outbound effort on Sales Navigator today, but all these efforts combined lead to you opening up LinkedIn one morning to a DM from a stranger who wants to give you money to solve a problem for him, right? The problem you planted your flag in at the beginning of this webinar. So when you combine these layers, the niche person, the clear offer, the burst pipe problem, the buddy mindset, the outbound engine, the comment engine, the clarity layer of your profile, and the engaging content, something remarkable happens on this platform. Your business stops feeling random. You stop waiting for referrals. They start coming to you. You stop hoping a post goes viral because you know better. You stop feeling invisible because to your industry, you're everywhere. We do this for B2B customers, and within weeks, they say that anytime they go to a conference, somebody says, "Hey, you're all over my LinkedIn," right? And that's just from a few weeks of doing this. And you stop wondering where the next client is coming from. Instead, you have a system, one that keeps putting you in the rooms where the clients are making decisions. All right. And I hope that, I'm excited to see you guys put all of this together. Um, and before we get to the Q&A portion here, here's how I want to close this. If you want to take this a step further, and I mentioned that we're going to have a special freelancing program deal for you guys. If you want to take it a step further, get some help building this engine, the offer clarity, the niche, the outbound system, the comment ladder, the DM scripts, the pipeline, not just for LinkedIn, but pretty much across the whole damn internet. And if you want to do it alongside 1,300 other freelancers who are in growth mode and actively doing this with you every week, we got a little thanks for being here gift for you guys today. We're offering a freelancing program membership for anyone who joins during this webinar before we hit end on the Zoom. $34 off the first month. It costs you $34 to be here, so we want to go ahead and make it today basically free for you. And if you're not familiar with the freelancing program, and this is just two slides and we'll get to the Q&A. It's a community of 1,300 freelancers all helping each other grow. We have places to strategize, crowdsource client conversations, responses to client emails. We have weekly group meetups where you can bring questions about what's going on inside your business to me in the group. There's a win section where you can get inspired by what other people are succeeding with, offers that they're bringing out to their clients. And there's over 20 hours of video content, archival meetups that you can watch and take notes on what you could be implementing now to get results. And not only that, but I want to personally take a look at your business and your objectives and what's standing in your way and help you make a plan. So if you join before the end of our time together today, you're also going to get a free 20-minute session with me where we can put pen to paper and make sure you're starting 2026 on the right path for the vision that you have for your business. Um, it's important. That's important for me that, if you made the effort to be here today, I want to make sure that you put this stuff to work properly. So you just got to use the code 34 off. Did I get that right? 30. Did I do it right? You smiled like I did the wrong code. Just use the code 34 off when you go into the freelancing program and join before the end of the Q&A today to make sure that you take advantage of it. So I'll leave this page up and we'll get to the question and answer section. And let me find where that is. Q&A.
But first, I think as far as commenting goes, I think this is a good one to go by is how you use AI, because a lot of people notice AI in commenting.
Hmm.
How do you use AI to your advantage to make commenting easier and working?
Great. So first question is one that was just a general temperature of the chat question. It's a question about AI and commenting. And I'm really glad that we're talking about this because so many people use AI so wrong when commenting on LinkedIn. So here's what you're going to do. Because this is a human endeavor. It's humans making relationship with humans. You don't want to basically, you definitely don't want to use a third party spam bot that just, you type in the profiles that you want to comment on and you get a comment immediately, right? I'll post on LinkedIn and the second I hit post, there's 8 comments, right? Those people are using a spam bot. Don't want to be that guy. What you want to do is have ChatGPT interview you. So ask ChatGPT to tell it what you're trying to do. Say, I want to build a commenting protocol, with you that is based in my tone and delivery style, my expertise, my background, my real stories with real clients. Um, interview me for 1 hour, and ask all the questions that you need to develop that commenting protocol, right? And ChatGPT will create, will give you a two-page list of questions, and you can just either talk into voice notes and answer those questions or film yourself and transcribe it, whatever. Get the transcription of your answer, or you can just type your answers to the questions if you want. Whatever's easiest for you. Uh, but let ChatGPT interview you, and then you take those answers, whether it be a transcript or the fact that you just wrote those questions down, and feed them into ChatGPT and say, I want to leave meaningful comments that follow this framework. It complements the original post, adds something incredibly insightful, inside baseball to the content of the post, ends with a question. I want it to follow that framework. Uh, you know, anytime I paste a post in here, write me a comment, and then that's how we use it. So and it's even for me, like I'm me and I use ChatGPT to, that, based on all of my interviews and things like that. Because if I'm commenting at scale, like it at least gives me, it gets me to the 20-yard line, and then I can punch it into the end zone. Because if you're trying to come up with something insightful to say about 50 things that day, you could do it. Any of us could do that. But you also, want to optimize your time. And so let ChatGPT figure out the insightful thing to say based on that interview with you, and then you edit that comment and paste it in, right? So you edit that comment based on what value you want to add to the conversation, or if you see a missed opportunity, or to add something experiential, from your based in your experience, then you paste that in as well. So that's how you use it. And then if you get a team involved, you can train them on it, right? You can share that GPT with them. But yeah, ultimately, you never want to be just copy and pasting from ChatGPT. You always want to kind of sprinkle your magical U dust on it, make it human. Are you picking questions or should I? Okay, cool. So Courtney's got the questions. Okay. So Q&A and then sort by most upvotes. You are now new feature. Zoom always has a new feature. You are now in control of when this view changes. Click here to refresh the view to see questions. Okay, got it. So we'll just go from the top here.
So really quick, it seems like the freelancingprogram.com is kind of crashing out. So go to freelance.jamiebrindle.io.
Congratulations, guys. You've crashed the freelancingprogram.com website. So we're going to put this, let's see here. Can I just edit? Can I edit this? What does this do? Oh, that's annotate. Make a new slide here. What are we going to?
Freelance.jamiebrindle.io.
Oops. Oh, come on,
Okay.
you.
I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay. This is like
Still the same code.
still the same code, but Courtney's putting in the chat where this is where we need to go now. If I Oh, here, I just hit here. Let's stop sharing real quick and then come over here. Hit that. All right. So we are now going to what? Freelance.jamiebrindle.io. All right, and we'll hit play on that guy. And share the screen. So that's where we're going now. Freelance.jamiebrindle.io. Code 34 off. All right. Let's get to some of these questions, guys. Okay. Well, Courtney's going to be navigating issues in the chat. It sounds like we might be having some technological issues. How do you best identify the people? This is from Allison. How do you best identify the people clients that have the problem you solve, given that a lot of clients don't publicly discuss the problem ahead of time? It's costly, urgent, or soon will be. But how do you know they have that issue so you can be there for them? Uh, so likely anybody that it's a great question, Allison. And I wonder if I hit answer live, will that make it highlighted? Oh no. It's a bummer. In the freelancer program, we can like highlight questions so everybody can read it. But Allison's question is a great question. Is how do you best identify the people that have the problem that you solve? So basically the way I do this in the opposite direction, right? So figure out what the taking a look at the niche, identify who you want to work with, and then go if you want to workshop it with ChatGPT or fellow business owners. But I'll go to ChatGPT for this all the time when I'm building out a new offer and say, what painful, urgent problem is this niche like constantly solving for, right? So it's as opposed to what specific, so it's basically picking a problem that they're always going to be optimizing for. That way you don't run into this targeting issue. You could, if you want, have something that's like really timing specific, and then just make all of your outreach about that. And it's a matter of when the timing's right, they'll remember, oh, Allison's the person I've been talking to since January about this, and so I'm going to Allison, or if somebody in their network brings it up, or if somebody has seen your post 12 times every time they open up LinkedIn, and that moment arises, they'll know to go to you. So it's like all this works for that, but you can cut this problem off at the head if you pick an issue, if you pick a problem that um what's the word I'm looking for? If you pick a problem that is more consistent in the industry, if it's something that is going to require solving and then maintenance, right? So like bake that into your offer building. So it's not an issue that you even have to deal with. All right. It's either Garrett or Jarrett. I am so sorry. I'm going to go with Garrett. In a video, I saw you talk about the plateau as a freelancer. What's the best way to get off the plateau and increase income? So you're probably talking about what I refer to as the referral plateau. And this is it, right? So most freelancers, they'll hit a plateau, somewhere between 8 months and 3 years into their career where their business just stops growing. It's like it was doing great and then it just stops. And they're like, what happened? What am I doing wrong? Is it a down market? Like, insert any, all the usual suspects here. But what really happened is they built their business on referrals, right? They built their business on friends of friends, and their business has outgrown their network. So, they started here and their network was here and it got them to here. And it took 8 to 3 months, but now their network has no more juice. There's nothing else in it that's going to keep them growing. So you got to build the network, right? And now in the old days, you used to do that a handshake at a time, right? One job at a time. You do really good for one client and they maybe refer you to another client. But what we're talking about here today is networking at scale, where it's each week you do this, right? So your business can grow. Your business has plenty of room to grow. So this is what we're talking about here is networking at scale to get the hell off that referral plateau, and build something that has a little more consistency, right? Because as we talked about across this presentation, let the data be your guide. The data is going to tell the story of what works and what doesn't. And as you do it more, the data is going to get more refined, and your efforts are going to become higher leverage and more potent. So, do this consistently, and you'll quickly, you'll realize, oh, okay, cool. I'm getting a 13% conversion rate or acceptance rate on comments, but if I tweak these three things, if I changed my profile picture to have a big neon orange background. Suddenly now I'm getting a 16% conversion. What the hell? Like it's just based like purely because I stand out my profile picture. More people are accepting me. Okay, well now I changed the headline under my thing and it went back down to 13. Okay, I'll change the headline back to this, back up to 16. Now I'm going to change the headline to this and I'm up to 22%, right? So it's like things like that are your new day job basically is how do I refine the approach to maximize conversion rate and maximize the conversations that I'm having, so that I can continue to network at scale. Does that make sense? Okay, how do I get rid of? Okay, so Lewis or Luis says, how do you identify a burst pipe problem if you have a service that's seen as a commodity, design, video, etc.? Great question, because I'm video, or I was until February. We just closed our video agency. But you know, it's gonna change with the times. You've got to keep your finger on the pulse of your industry, but it's really niche specific. Because a burst pipe problem for the CPG industry is a non-issue for the fashion industry. A burst pipe problem for the fashion industry doesn't even move the needle for the real estate industry. So start there. Recruit ChatGPT to and ask it, hey, what are the urgent, costly problems that this industry solves for every day? What are the throw money at the problem situations that people in the fashion industry, or get even more specific that, fashion industry publicists solve, right? One time we did this in the freelancing program where we did a whole offer building workshop, and I picked like the most obscure, niche industry I could think of. So I was like, okay, direct to consumer makeup companies that sell on TikTok shop only. It's like what are their 30 biggest, like, most costly urgent problems? And like one of the problems was that it's a lack of second purchases because the first purchase experience was lackluster because people saw their favorite influencer unbox the makeup and the influencer got the sexy influencer box unboxing experience, right? Because the brand sends it to them. And when they ordered it, they just got lip gloss and bubble wrap in an Amazon box, and so they felt like they didn't have the same experience that their favorite influencer did. And so they never bought again. There was no loyalty, in that initial engagement with the brand. And so, okay, if you're a designer, um, say you're a designer. So how do you solve that specific problem? Well, you're now the person, you're the second purchase person, right? You're the designer that does nothing but optimize for a second purchase from, for direct-to-consumer makeup brands that sell on TikTok Shop. So if they don't have the budget for packaging, you're going to design flyers that feel luxurious and that feel like VIP, and and you're going to split test them. You're going to send, this region gets this, everybody from this influencer gets this flyer, everybody from this influencer gets this flyer. And how many of them bought a second time because they were all pixeled? So it's like you can be like, yes, you're a designer, but you're solving a burst pipe problem for this company, which is we're getting plenty of people buying once and there's no retention. The lifetime value of our customer is zilch, right? We got to solve this problem now, or every time we need to make money, we need to sell a shitload of product versus just like relying on our, the relationship, our, brand relationship with the customers. So that's what I say is I would recruit ChatGPT to identify, what those problems are. You could also do this primary, right? You can spend 1 week of your first messaging, right, could be dedicated to solving this, where you literally say, I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I'm literally like human to human. I was wondering if I could get your help real quick. Here's the offer that I'm trying to develop. Is that something that you think people in your position would benefit from, right? And just be like, just talk to them like, I swear to you, I'm not selling you on this. I just need a thumbs up or a thumbs down from you if I'm barking up the right tree here, right? And send that message out 20 times and see what, person to person, what people say. Because likely people are going to give you some really thoughtful suggestions there. If you reach out to 20 founders with an offer that you thought was really good, and three of them got back to you and said, I see what you're trying to do here, but really, if you did this, you'd be onto something, because business owners want to help business owners. That's you'll grow just as fast there as well. Okay. This is from, oh man, I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm sorry. Fowles or Fawaz. How do you go if you don't have social proof yet? How do we get that first client without the social proof? Right. So A, uh, you need proof of what you do. You need experience proof. You don't need a first client to get that, right? So spend this week, next week, creating all sorts of projects, right? demonstrating what it is you do and building that expertise for you yourself to become an expert, right? So it's like a couple ways you could do this would be because you want to attack your problem from all angles. So go to like Upwork. Feel free to go to Upwork and look at jobs that you would be great for. Don't apply to them. Just make it for you. Make up the brand and do that thing and add it to your portfolio, right? Or again, this is becoming a common theme today, is you could deploy ChatGPT to this and just say, hey, here's the problem I solve. Here's the type of customer I'm trying to attract. I need to build a portfolio this week. Can you give me 8 different angles on this problem? Act as 8 clients and that cover 8 different versions of this problem and prompt me to create a project, right? And start building up your experience proof. Excuse me. And then when it comes to your profile and your content, your comments and all that, again, like your expertise is your proof, right? The fact that the specificity is your proof. The fact that you know that this problem needs to be solved is the justification for listening to you, right? If it's so specific, they're like, oh man, this person must be an expert because only an expert would even know that makeup companies have an issue with return purchases. Direct to consumer makeup companies have this issue, and this person's talking about it every day on LinkedIn. That in and of itself will do it, right? So hopefully that helps answer that question. I'm just trying to get. I know there's a shitload of. If I hit okay, if I do this, answer live, done. Done. And then if I hit this, okay, cool. How do you nurture these relationships? This is from Ricardo. So you've sent out 800 connection requests this month. 200 people accepted. You sent out 200 first messages. Now what do you do? Right? That could be a whole other webinar. I've gotten you to start the conversations. Now, how do you keep the conversations going? Right? You know how to do this. You're a human being that's been alive long enough to know how to have a conversation with another human being. Right? Remember that you get the trophy if you make a buddy, not if you make a sale, right? So how do you nurture these relationships? By treating these people as if they were friends of yours, right? Like friends that you care about, fellow business owners that are trying to make their way in the world just like you, right? And so you've opened that conversation with, hey, not a pitch on the other side of this, trying to meet more people in the industry. What are we up against? What's something you're excited about for the next 12 weeks? Something of that ilk. And that person replies and says, great to meet you, Ricardo. Thanks for reaching out. To be honest, things are great. We're doing a great job and we're pretty pleased with everything. And you go, great. What's any big goals for next year? Well, we're going to try and take advantage of this, and that. Oh, that's awesome. What are you doing for this? I have a client that's doing that. And whatever you tell me, I might be able to use over here. Just start palling around with them. Oh, well, we're going to do this and that. I'll appreciate that. I'm going to put that one to work. Thanks for that. Oh, hey, did you check out this article that just got posted about this thing that you mentioned? You said you're going to this thing in Dallas, and here's this. Are you going to be at this event? Oh, no, we're not, but that's something that we should probably check out. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, how was Dallas? Like it's just you just keep going. It's you just having a conversation, right? And at whenever you have a shot, take it. Where it's like any chance that you see an opportunity to to demonstrate your expertise, take it, right? Or if they mention a problem, help them, right? And again, it's not a pitch, but if 3 months from now this guy says, "Yeah, you say how'd the campaign go? Oh, it didn't go great. We effed up and we did not get the result that we were thinking." Well, interesting. I just finished a campaign like that, and it actually did pretty well because we did this little thing after. Do you want to chat about it? I bet you could probably still salvage this. Do you have 15 minutes? Yeah, let's chat about it. Now you're on the phone with them, right? And you're solving a problem side by side. And hey, you're more than capable of doing this, but I also have a team that does this every day. I'd be happy to take care of this for you, right? And then we'll do it, and then we'll build out the next one the right way for you so that you don't run into this problem again. Suddenly, and now you've got a client, right? So that's the way it works. Is it's just it's you make a buddy, and then when the window opens where they've got a problem that you can solve, you take the shot. And it's really as simple as that. It's as simple as like genuinely wanting to help people. All right, let's see. This one is from Dimitri. How to apply all of this to custom software development where the scope is much bigger, requirements, engineer, hosting, development, and the prices of projects can quickly go high. I mean, it's the same. It's like there is no, you know, if anything, the higher the budget, the more this is going to help. Because the higher ticket the job, um, or the more exclusive the industry, the more important network is, right? Because that's where these decisions get made. Somebody's not finding a $75,000 freelancer on Upwork, right? They're just not going to do it. They're going to go ask their friends, they're going to ask their fellow founders, their team members who they know that they've worked with before, that can solve these problems. So it all happens at the network stage. The higher ticket you go and the more complex the projects get. So it's just really about targeting who are those people, who are those decision makers, and making your sales navigator really like spot on for that, right? Really, really finely targeted, and then nurturing just like what we just talked about with them, right? Yeah, it's and the social media presence, the LinkedIn presence is the new business card, right? So as you grow, people are going to come check you out and you're going to have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn and you're going to be posting, a couple times a week and they're going to see your face everywhere in all these other comment sections. And you will quickly become, the expert at solving this thing. So it's like, why would they go to anybody else than the person that everybody else is getting their advice from on LinkedIn, right? Even if you're not the king of software development in this particular niche, you're the only one talking about it. You're the one that's planted their flag in this particular problem that software development solves. All right. All right, from Gabriella. Do you think we need to also post content to build trust on top of this networking at scale, or will it work on its own? I filled this water up really. That almost spilled everywhere just then. Um, do you think we need to also post content to build trust on top of networking at scale, or will it work on its own? It will absolutely work on its own. Um, you know, I would post once a week, maybe just to let people know you're alive. But content is bottom of the list on LinkedIn. That being said, if you do post content a handful of times a week, or even daily, you will, your authority, you strengthen your authority. So, if somebody sees you in every comment section that they're a part of, and they read your headline and they understand what it is you do, and you're having a conversation with them in DMs, and you're demonstrating your expertise there, that's going to be enough, right? But if you add content to that, there's a new layer of discovery because remember, when people comment on your posts, their whole network sees your post. So there's a new layer of discovery there, so you'll reach more people. But also there's an authority layer there where it's, inevitably if four freelancers are standing next to each other and they all have equal skill set and they all do the same thing and they're all priced identically, and one of them gets called up on a stage to give a speech and everybody starts applauding for that one person because they love them, which one's going to look like the authority, right? It's going to be the person that everybody else is paying attention to. So that's the added benefit of content is it's discovery and authority, but you can absolutely get away with not doing it. Also, I should have mentioned this in the presentation, but so sorry to the people that are that left early. Maybe they're watching the replay. On LinkedIn, as much as they say, and this is the benefit of having primary experience, like because people will give you advice. I love that I'm at the stage of my career where I can watch somebody giving advice and know that it is 100% incorrect. So as much as people say short form video on LinkedIn is where it's at, to the point where um, like the head of marketing of LinkedIn made a whole presentation about this, and she posted a short form video and was like, "This is where it's at. This is what LinkedIn is now." But myself and many a person with far greater reach than I on LinkedIn, we all get together and agree that the written word is still king on LinkedIn. They just still haven't figured out short form video, like in terms of targeting, like reach algorithmically. What'll happen is they'll send your video out to everybody because there's a shortage of short form video content. But that means that like my freelancer content is going out to like, Bob's hunting emporium type audience and so and so, so and so's 9 to 5 resume building audience. So it's like all these people that don't give a shit about freelancing are seeing my video, so I'm getting a really high impression count, but my comments, I'm getting like 2 comments, right? So it's like I have a video I right now on LinkedIn that did 800,000 impressions and that has 6 comments, right? And then I have and then a video, or a text post will do 12,000 impressions, but have 50 comments, right? So which post do you think is doing better for my business, right? So written content with an image, especially, is where it's at on LinkedIn, because it just takes up the real estate. If you look at your phone, it's just text or text and an image. You want to own as much of that screen as possible, right? So that was a very long-winded answer to that question. Let's hit refresh. Okay. From Felipe. From your experience, how does this methodology work for people outside the US, not only to find opportunities in the US, but also in their own country? Most of the people that I've done this with are outside of the US. So there is no dilution of efficacy if you're not US based. I mean, there are just as many people in Germany that are on LinkedIn to do business, so all that changes is in that geography piece on Sales Navigator. You want to you want to put wherever it is that you're trying to reach out to. So it'll narrow that, right? Instead of like 2.4 million, what the hell is the word? Like accounts, on your list return, you'll maybe get like 1,000, but hey, that's okay because you only have to send 200 connection requests and it'll refresh next week. More people will be active. But yeah, it absolutely works for people outside the US. How are you doing in the chat? Any questions I need to answer? Anything about the freelancing program?
No, people are just upset the site crashed for a
The site crashed for a minute. Are we back live?
minute.
We're back live. All right, guys. So the site is working. So make sure to go and I'm going to try and answer as many of these questions to buy you as much time as possible. Maybe ask any questions. Okay, ask any questions about the freelancing program as well. If this is something that you want to be a part of, but you're on the fence and you just have a question about that, I want to make sure that you get those answered as well, so you don't miss the opportunity to get the 20-minute session. And while I'm on that, I see this question from Ryan. How do we claim the one-on-one with Jamie? So join using this promo code, and then what happens? And then everybody that joins using this promo code, because there was no way to automate this, everyone that joins using this promo code, Courtney is going to email or send in the community. Courtney is going to DM in the freelancing program a link to claim to get on my calendar for the one-on-one. Cool. Does that make sense? All right. What was your question, Courtney? You said there was a question. How to define your niche better. I mean, just layers and layers of specificity, guys. You know, first realize that what you do isn't your niche, that's your craft or your service. Who you do it for is your niche, right? So graphic designer uh for brands is a really shitty niche. That's way too general. Let's go one layer of specificity. Graphic designer for makeup brands. A little better, still not great. Let's keep going. Graphic designer for makeup brands that sell D2C, direct to customer, right? They don't sell CPG. They don't sell in convenience or grocery. We're getting there. Let's get even more specific. Graphic designer for makeup brands that sell D2C uh, on TikTok Shop, right? Now that's something you can work with. Now you can say, okay, I optimize, for this experience. What are the problems that these people are solving for? Because it's like what we talked about earlier. Your specificity is your spear that cuts through the noise. Because now if you're the owner of a direct customer makeup brand that sells exclusively on TikTok Shop, imagine what that person's experience on LinkedIn is, right? Likely they see a lot of content about TikTok and they see a lot of content about the makeup industry, but it's all probably pretty general and broad. Now imagine they're on their feed and they stop their scroll because they saw a post that's talking directly to them about a problem that they just walked out of a meeting discussing, right? That's the phenomenon that you want to manufacture with your niche. And there's no such thing as a niche that's too specific. I've yet to find it. It's like just like the more specific you can get, the easier it is to find leads, as you'll see with Sales Navigator. And the more you get to charge for the problems you solve, right? So specificity um, is super valuable. And this is a great segue from Dylan. He says, "Is expansion to more niches after successfully operating in one a mistake?" I want to answer this delicately. Um, No, it's not a mistake, but I think a lot of people do it prematurely. And so that's why I want to be careful in how I answer. Uh, you know, Usually you want to go all in on, I mean, think of it this way. Like we have a restaurant in LA called Five Guys, or not Five Guys, that's DC. The restaurant in LA is called In-N-Out, In-N-Out Burger. And they serve like two things. It's cheeseburger or hamburger, right? And French fries. Um, and and that like those two things, they do so extraordinarily well that every single In-N-Out in California, regardless of time of day, has a line that goes to the street in the drive-through, right? Where they have cones set up and it causes a whole traffic thing anytime there's an in and out. Like you just know it. You know when you're getting close because you see the line. And it's just like, even before you can see the restaurant, if you're trying to get drive-through in and out, oh, that's the line. I'll just get in the line, right? They serve two things. There's not, it's not, they don't have a four-page menu, right? And so that's what you want to be. You want to be that version of whatever it is you do, where it's like I do this one thing, right? And there's a line out my door because nobody else does it like I can because I spend all this time doing this one thing, you know. So I, you know, that's that. But then there are opportunities to expand the boundaries of your company, right? If in and that's where once you kind of punch through that wall, then you get that leeway. So I would say that you use your offer, the specificity of your offer, to get as many people through the door as possible. Call it your Trojan horse offer. And then once you're beyond the gates, you can expand out into anything else that you do. Offers to the left and to the right of that Trojan horse offer, that spear offer. But on the marketing side, how you present yourself to the world, I would keep it as simple as possible. We have a buddy, his name's Sun Yi. He was at the freelancer meetup here in LA, but he's got a great Trojan horse offer is his word, and he does like personal branding for big like Mel Robbins, like those types of people. And his Trojan horse offer is website development. He's personal branding, but he's out there advertising website development, and the reason is that those people, don't know they have a personal branding issue. And so him and his team figured, okay, what are they looking for? What are people with a personal branding issue looking for? Because they don't know to look for personal branding. And they're looking for website. And so what he'll do is, someone will hire them on for a website, and then, mid-project, they'll go, yes, we can keep doing this, and we will build you a killer website, and that could be the end of it. But we're noticing that what the real issue here is that you have no personal brand. And this website will do great for you, but it will do gangbusters if we solve the personal brand issue. Do you want to solve that problem with us too? Right? And so that then opens up a whole suite of offers. So I would think about it that way, is that this offer that we talked about today is you're puncturing the wall, and then once you're in there, you can expand to other offers. Okay, cool. Let's take a couple more questions. Any more questions about the freelancing program in the chat? No? Okay, cool.
Just reiterate, I'll get a link to book the one-on-one today. That one seems to be key.
Okay, I will reiterate here and now that once you use this code 34 off, you will get a link to book the one-on-one with me in the freelancing program. You'll get a DM from Courtney in the freelancing program, and it will send you to, pick
Immediately
later today, not immediately. We couldn't automate it, so we got to do it manually. But we will send you that link later today, sometime in the next 12 to 24 hours. You will get that link to book that one-on-one, and it will send you to a calendar where you can pick a day for the two of us to sit down and really work through some stuff and get you where you need to be. See here. I want to try and be expeditious. I think we've covered a lot of this stuff. Um, I have a question. Thanks, man. Bear with me here, guys. I'm just curating questions for you because I know we're limited on time. I've already gone over our how long did we say we were going to take? I know I've already claimed more of your time than I promised I would. Oh, interesting. Do you recommend picking a niche that you love or one that is more profitable sooner? I mean, the beauty of this freelancing thing is it's choose your own adventure. I don't think that you're like I don't think there's a such thing as a bad niche. I think it's the offer is what's going to dictate the speed of your profitability. The distance between now and serious profit. The niche is not the thing that's going to determine that. But yeah, you're right in the rules. Pick, like live the life you want to live. Like that's the thing. That's why all the 9 to 5ers are so jealous of us, is we get to pick this stuff, right? So like choose the niche that you're interested in, and find a painful, urgent problem to solve for them. That again that you're interested in, because there are a plethora of painful, urgent problems that businesses deal with. And I saw this question from Alf. It says, "What if my skill set is useful but not urgent enough?" This is not your skill set. It's the problem that you can solve with your skill set, right? Like somebody might say a video editor is not urgent enough, but if you have a course launch coming up, and you need a VSL that converts because your current VSL, the VSL you've been running for the last 2 weeks is doing terrible numbers. That's an urgent problem that needs solved, right? This goes back to the bathroom situation, the burst pipe problem. So it's figuring out the problem. It's not the skill set, it's the problem. Um, okay. Peter says, I've been posting 7 days a week since January, but with 6,000 followers, my posts get roughly 200 impressions at most, no matter the quality or content. How do I fix this? I'm So if you have an impression problem, Peter, uh, there is a hook problem. If your posts aren't stopping enough people to take a look, that means that you're not grabbing their attention. You're not opening up a curiosity gap in a way that plays the game of human psychology and social media. So that's something that you really want to, and this is great advice for everybody. Like, first and foremost, it doesn't matter how good the post is. If the hook doesn't cut the muster, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to read it, So you should spend 80% of your effort on that hook. There are so many great posts that I've made over the years that did nothing, that got no reach because the hook wasn't great. It's tough because it's like that post is so good. Like, and you're like, I know, like, if somebody would just sit and read this thing, it would change the trajectory of their business, but nobody's stopping to read it? So how are you going to stop somebody in your niche? How are you going to open up a curiosity gap that absolutely must be satisfied? Right. And there's a little bit of, art and science there, but it's just testing. But it's your first. I think a lot of people default to the kind of standard, here's 7 things I learned when I did this. Or, if you're having this problem, you're not thinking about it right. Let me explain. Like all that stuff that's like very like par for the course on LinkedIn or educational content in general. But you want something that plays on emotions more, right? So it's like a post that I just posted on LinkedIn that did really well, opened with, it was promoting this webinar. Opened with, I spent the last 12 months learning everything there is to learn about LinkedIn so you don't have to. I spent the last 12 months learning the hard way so you don't have to. So that's a curiosity gap. That's the implied question is, okay, well, what did he learn? What does 12 months of this effort mean, right? It's like somebody suggesting that, they worked out for 12 months so that you wouldn't have to. If I stop and read this post, I'm gonna get the results of working out for 12 months. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, like so that's what that's the game you're playing. Is how do I hook attention in a meaningful way? And visuals will do that too, but really it's opening up that curiosity gap, and then retaining it. Once you hook them, you have to rehook them every couple sentences throughout the post, right? So every question, the answer to every question needs to open up an even bigger question, right? It's like a Russian doll. So that way they get to the bottom of the post. Because if the whole post is just it's just information, then it's not going to be it's not going to be get as many impressions or it's not going to get as much retention. So that would be what I'd take a hard look at, Peter. I'd look at your hook and I'd look at your rehooking. And then let's do one more. Let's see, we went through that. That's one said I've always wondered what industry Jamie was in. I was in film, television, making video, editing, post-production, real production, and then Courtney and I shut that business down in February. And now we do social media, B2B social media consulting. And we also have a little bit of a social media business, if you can't tell. Um, All right, this is a good one to end on. From Joe. Joe says, I receive more than 500 messages a day, and most LinkedIn outreach feels aggressively sales driven. I end up deleting nearly all of them and blocking anyone who sends repeated pitches. How can we turn cold conversation starters into genuine relationship driven buddies without coming across as salesy? That's a fantastic question, and that's all great news. Like literally everything you just described is why you're going to do really well on LinkedIn, right? Is because you're the anti that. I too receive a shitload of messages a day on LinkedIn, and they too are all aggressively sales driven. But or like very thinly veiled sales openers, right? Where everybody's using the same like open into a pitch and I can see it coming from a mile away. Um, when people are so genuinely not that, it's so refreshing, right? It's so apparent because we know what that looks like. So the way that you stand out is you literally write that list out like list out all of the things that you hate about these messages and do the opposite. And in column two, write out what the opposite of that is, right? How do these people start their messages? What's their opening line? How do they treat you? What does the body of their message look like? You know, what do their follow-ups look like? All of these things. And then column two is the opposite of that. And that's what you're going to do, right? So if you have that primary data, it becomes very easy to stand out in a positive way because you know what you're not. So that's what I would say is do the two column exercise, and just genuinely, be a buddy, build person to person relationships. And I even like I put in the first message in the opening message, what's the um, you know, I promise there's not a pitch on the other side of this, right? Because I know that. I know that so many of these people are getting pitches. And so I'm just trying to, I call it straight up. I'm just trying to make a buddy. I'm trying to make a friend. I want to know more people. My goal for this year was to meet more people in my industry. And I promise there's not a pitch coming on the other side of this thing. I just want to chat with you and see what you're up against and see what some of the goals are, and that's so disarming because so many people are used to, the most thinly veiled like bullshit sales pitches, from 19-year-old sales gurus. No shame to 19-year-olds in the chat today. All right, so we'll leave it there, guys. Hopefully, if you had a chance to, or if you had interest in the freelancing program, you took advantage of this, I'd love to see you in there. I'm excited to chat with those of you who joined. I'm excited for our 20-minute conversations. But also, I'm just excited to watch all 1,000 of the people that RSVP'd to this thing put this shit to work, man. It's going to be really fun. Like DM me, as you deploy, as you put these efforts to work. Let me know how everything's going, because this is I know what's about to happen for your business, even if you don't, and I'm excited for it. All right, we're gonna do some more of these webinars next year, so keep an eye out for those. Be on the lookout. They're going to be for different objectives, not just LinkedIn. So let me know also, send me a DM and let me know what are some other like really targeted problems you're trying to solve that I can build these webinars out for. All right. I'll see you guys on LinkedIn. Have a good one, guys.